Welcome to Outspoken, where we dive deep into the topics and intersection of technology, money, business, and passion. I'm your host, Shana Cosgrove.
Our mission is really, really simple, and it's to grant wishes to children with critical illnesses. But behind that very simple mission statement is just a world of magic and joy and hope. I didn't realize when I took this job that being the people leader would be the hardest part of it. I first got involved with Make-A-Wish as what I now call Wish Mom. My family was a recipient of a wish.
At Nyla Technology Solutions, we believe America's warfighters deserve the absolute best technology advantage on the battlefield. We are an AI engineering company focused on helping the Department of War move faster, think smarter, and achieve true information dominance. Our team builds mission-ready artificial intelligence, advanced data platforms, and decision advantage capabilities that help leaders see clearly and act decisively. In a world where the speed of information can determine victory, Nyla is committed to delivering strength through innovation, ensuring our nation stays secure, competitive, and ready for whatever comes next. Nyla Technology Solutions is an SBA-certified 8A, woman-owned small business. Our contract vehicles include GSA Mass, 8A Stars 3, and MDA Shield. For more information, partnering opportunities, or the latest job openings, please check out our website, www.nyla.io, or email us at hello@nyla.io. One thing about one of my favorite people, Lesli Creedon, is she is always wearing her star pin because she is the CEO of the Make-A-Wish Foundation of the Mid-Atlantic. Yes, of the Mid-Atlantic.
Yeah.
And she's even got her star earrings on today.
Oh, I do. Always about the stars. Always about the brand.
Lesli and I had the pleasure of meeting. We were in a Vistage group together, learning how to be better CEOs.
Trying very hard to be a better CEO and leader.
Yes.
I didn't realize when I took this job, that would be the hardest part of it.
What?
Being a leader, being the people leader. I don't know about you.
I think one of the hardest parts about being a leader or growing is that you are pushed on your weaknesses. So you don't get to fit in a job that just hits on your strengths.
That's a great way of putting it.
And you are pushed, whether you want to or not, to improve because your improvement flows through the whole organization. So if you don't get better, the organization does not get better, which is really uncomfortable. So it really is a lot of work on you. It's a really highlight of all your weaknesses.
100%.
And everything you need to do to improve.
That's exactly right. And I think when you start in these roles, you think everybody's looking at me to know all of the answers and I have to prove myself. And it has taken me a while to realize that I can say to them, I don't know. I don't know the answer, but we're all going to figure it out together.
Yeah. Or I'll get back to you. Or what's your suggestion?
Right.
What's your
the script?
Yeah. Well, what would you do in this scenario? Which is actually valid because they often know the details better than they do. And they maybe don't feel ready to say something.
That's right. And they've never been asked before. So they haven't tapped into their inner knowledge of how to change things and do things better.
Yeah. What was one of the biggest things you learned in Vistage?
I think one of the biggest things I learned in Vistage was to trust your gut and to take action after you have really thought through all of the aspects and angles of a decision you need to make, but to trust your gut and go for it. Taking action is moving forward.
Especially, it's hard to take action when it's a negative thing and it's uncomfortable. I think that's where so many people delay when it's a problem and it is uncomfortable fixing the problem. And you want to take no action because you think that's kind of better.
Yeah.
And just pulling the Band-Aid off is actually better for everybody.
Being afraid to have that difficult conversation because you feel so just your stomach is tied in knots thinking about it. But then once the words are out, the weight is just lifted off your shoulder. And it's just a huge sigh of relief to know that it's done. No action just compounds the problem.
One of the biggest things I feel I learned is actually the humanity of the people who are in leadership. I think a lot of times when you go to networking events and you're trying to partner with someone or you're asking somebody for something or you're trying to provide value, but in that room we have our masks off and people might be doing well business or have some personal issues going on. And it's just this full layer, not to mention like physical ailments or different
Family
stress of everything.
challenges. We have people that you can trust with that information and who are there to help you work through it without judging you or you having fears that it's going to ripple out to other people you don't want to know.
Because everyone wants to do well in business, but everyone's core value is still being a great spouse, parent, child to your parents. It's the relationships to your core family that are what people value most in life.
Life isn't a flat line. So, when you're really struggling at home or have a health issue or a child with a health issue, work unfortunately has to take a back seat. And sometimes work is what you have to prioritize. So, knowing that you can have a support system that helps you balance all of those things and make you feel like, okay, it's not a trade-off with dire consequences when I have to shift my focus between my family, my friends, and my job. I think that's really valuable to have those kinds of people in your corner.
Yeah. Now, tell us about Make-A-Wish. What does Make-A-Wish do?
So our mission is really, really simple, and it's to grant wishes to children with critical illnesses. But behind that very simple mission statement is just a world of magic and joy and hope. There's also empirically proved scientific research on how a wish actually improves a child's mental, emotional, even physical health. And it's also about a whole community movement. Like you said earlier, having people in your court, but it's about having a community to support you and knowing the goodness in people and the humanity in people.
I'm smiling because it can be so lonely, right? Probably the parents are separated too because one is at the hospital.
I first got involved with Make-A-Wish as what I now call Wish Mom. My family was a recipient of a wish. So 10 years ago, honestly, 10 years ago this week, my son was diagnosed with leukemia. He was 11 years old. And the doctors actually, thank God for modern medicine, right? That nowadays childhood leukemia has a very, very high cure rate. And so we went into this battle feeling really positive and hopeful that he would be just fine and come through this. So 2 days into his hospital stay, when a doctor came and told us that we qualify for Make-A-Wish, I told that doctor to take it down the hall, right? Because I had the misperception, like most people, that wishes are for terminal children only, kids who are at end of life situations. And there was no way in heck I was going to let my son get into that population. But as I came to learn through him and through other parents, wishes are really an integral part of a child's medical journey. It gives them resilience. It gives them hope. You know what it's like when you have hope and you have something to look forward to. You have the power of a positive mindset. It helps you get through the tough times. And with my son, Jack, we use the wish to really motivate him, right? Here's what's going to happen. So you better get up and walk those 1,000 steps a day. You better take that medicine because this is what's waiting for you at the end of the journey. So that's how I got involved. And so glad I did, because after his wish, actually around the same time, I became involved as a staff member and as president. So I have seen what a wish can do for a family. And I'm really passionate about making sure that all the families here in the Mid-Atlantic, like mine, get the same experience.
What was your son's wish?
My son is a very, very National Geographic nerd. And so he wanted to go to the Maldives, not to go to the Maldives just to swim and because it's like the number one tourist attraction, right? But he wanted to go to see the bioluminescent sea and the islands before climate change destroyed them. And I'll tell you, at the time I said to the volunteers who came to our house, I'm like, that's too extravagant. And that's too much money. And We need something simple, right? My husband and I, well, maybe we wouldn't pay to go to the Maldives. We have the ability to take vacations. We're blessed with those resources. And the volunteer said to us, Mom, this isn't about what you and your husband can do for your child. This is about giving your child control. Everything is happening to him. He has no control over his daily life. He's out of school. He's taking horrendous drugs and undergoing god awful treatments and chemotherapy and radiation. This is something that he gets to choose and he can have control over. And there is a lot of power in giving a child that ability. So we said, okay, let's go to the Maldives. And I'll tell you, it was pretty spectacular.
How is your son doing today?
He just turned 21 a couple weeks ago, and he is physically doing great.
That's amazing.
Physically doing great. Yeah.
How long was he sick for?
He was in treatment just over 3 years. Just over 3 years.
11 to 14, like all of middle school.
Exactly. All of middle school. And I think that's, so many kids when they are, whatever age they are, when they are removed from society and isolated, the impact that has not just on them, but, their siblings who lose their best friend in the process, and parents, the whole family becomes very socially isolated. That's all you can focus on. Your whole life becomes consumed with care for that child.
Yeah.
One thing I just said that I wanted to point out too about my son that I don't think a lot of people realize is that only about 25% of our children are actually at end of life situations. The majority of WISH kids are going and living through and beyond their diagnosis and their treatment. We have a growing alumni community of adult WISH kids across the country, and they credit the WISH as a real turning point in their battles.
It must be just so incredible to have a job that impacts people so positively.
I do not take it for granted at all. But there are a lot of, tough days. We work with families who are emotionally vulnerable at the darkest times of their lives, the most trying times of their lives. But it's a real honor. It's to be able to come in and do something positive for them. And we have about 400 volunteers in Maryland, DC, and Northern Virginia who work with us and work with the families. And so having that whole community of support around the family is fantastic, but the ripple effects of the WISH and the good vibes, for lack of a better word, that it gives to our staff, our volunteers, the doctors and nurses who treat these children, our donors who get to see the impact of their contributions, that ripple effect is really powerful.
Now, how many wishes do you grant a year? How many wishes are we talking about?
Okay, so here in the Mid-Atlantic, we have about 450, 460 children at any one time that we are working with that are on their WISH journey, whether they've just been diagnosed and just referred to us, or they're dreaming about their WISH, or they're waiting for their WISH to happen. This past year, we granted just shy of 350 wishes. There's always a child waiting or on their journey, whether it's waiting to meet a celebrity or maybe perhaps they're too ill to travel at the time. But our goal, our kind of North Star, is to make sure that the wish is granted at a time that can have the greatest impact on their mental and physical health. And we don't want any financial challenges to compromise the timing of a wish.
So there's not a clear timeline of wish comes in, we got to grant it within 3 weeks or a month.
It's a really complicated process. So now if a child needs a wish immediately, and that doesn't necessarily mean they're at an end of life situation. It could mean that they're about to go in and have a transplant and the doctors want them to have a very positive experience so that they're going in it feeling hopeful and strong. We bump those wishes to the top of the list. Sometimes we can't control when a celebrity will meet them. Sometimes a child like my son was too sick to travel. We actually waited 2.5 years for his wish until he was healthy enough to go to the Maldives. So it varies widely, but on average for a standard wish, it can take between 8 and 12 months from start to finish.
What's the most common wish?
Disney. About 50% of our wishes are Disney. We have a fantastic relationship with the Walt Disney Company. But even our wishes for Disney are not cookie cutter, right? We try to understand what is the essence of that wish. Are you a princess fan? Do you like Marvel movies? What do you want to do at Disney? We just had a child who wanted to go to Disney. And when we were questioning him, why? Because we really wanted to make it custom to him. He said, because I want to eat every different kind of food I possibly can. He goes, I just want to go to all the different restaurants. We're like, really? You don't want to ride rides? Don't want to be a character? He's like, no, I want to eat my way through Disney.
That's so funny. So he went to Epcot?
We went to Epcot and we worked with the Walt Disney Company. They have a whole team that's just dedicated to making wishes come true. And they, basically did a culinary tour of the parks for him.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
What's the second most common?
The second most common is probably to have something, and that is very broad. It's anything from something like a laptop or a gaming system, puppies, lots of puppies.
Really?
Horses, tree houses, playhouses.
Have you rented a horse?
Oh, yeah, a horse.
You rented a horse?
Yeah, camper. So families can travel. Hot tubs for therapeutic purposes. Just about anything you can have other than a weapon or a house falls in the category of to have. So the big categories we ask kids to dream about are to go, to have, to meet. So a celebrity, you're an athlete. Nowadays, it's all these YouTubers I've never heard of. To be, which I love because we create these fantastic experiences where kids want to be princesses or mermaids or superheroes. And then there's a very special population of children who fall into the fifth category and wish to give. So they want to give their wish back to someone else, to their community, to a food bank, to a homeless shelter. One of my favorite ones was a teenage girl whose Girl Scout troop was by her side throughout treatment, and she wanted to give them the ultimate sleepover. So for 24 hours, our team was at her house with about a dozen Girl Scouts there. We were doing manicures and pedicures, and they wanted steak and baked potatoes and karaoke. She had a very clear vision. Capital Grill came and catered. She had a very specific vision of what she wanted to give back to her friends. Isn't that great?
That's amazing.
Yeah, love it.
That's amazing. What do you do with all the wishes you can't grant per year? Not to make you sad, sorry.
No, we never turn a child away. Every child who is eligible because of their diagnosis and is between 2.5 and 18 gets their wish. It's just a matter of how long they have to wait. But no, there's nobody that is told no.
I know one of the things that challenges you most is based upon the amount of financial gifts you receive or how you're doing with the donations, you can only give so much per year.
That's right. That's right. That's where we budget according to how many wishes we can afford during the course of a year. I think the one thing that I will mention to your listeners, because it's something I'm really proud of, is for every dollar we raise, we're usually able to secure about 50 cents of in-kind pro bono services. So we can leverage our cash donations. People donate airline miles, they donate their hotel points. Construction companies will come in as best they can, donate all the lumber and time to build tree houses, to build playhouses, landscapers who are doing backyard renovations. We really rely on the in-kind support, whatever it looks like, to take every dollar further.
Wow. The community that you work with must be so large.
It is. We have partners all over. As I said, we have about 300 volunteers. We call them our wish granting volunteers. They actually have the best jobs because they go out and meet with the families, really get to know the child, what makes them tick, what are their favorite things, helps them dream up their wish. Our staff puts all the details together and does all the itineraries and travel booking. And the wish granting volunteer is just there to stay in touch with the family throughout the journey and let them know that we're thinking about them, sending them little gifts, sending them birthday cards. We're always looking for people to volunteer, especially, I'll tell you right now, we have a big need in Baltimore and in Western Maryland because we serve kids all the way out Deep Creek Lake, Garrett, Washington, Allegheny counties. We need people who speak Spanish because so many of our children, English is a second language. The volunteer opportunities are pretty incredible and very meaningful. We have people who have been doing it for 20 and 30 years.
What are your biggest fundraising efforts throughout the year?
We do 4 events. The biggest and most fantastic is our Wish Ball, which is in downtown DC every February. We do a ladies' lunch with champagne and shopping. You've been there. I hope you loved it. That's also in DC. We'll do a golf tournament in Baltimore every fall, usually at Baltimore Country Club. And then we also do a golf tournament in the spring at Riverbend Country Club in Great Falls, Virginia. And what's really unique about that event is all of the funds that we raise go to support our military, active duty, and veteran families. We have a concentration of active duty families who come here for compassion posts so their kids can be treated at Walter Reed or Hopkins or Children's National. And so that's one of the ways that donors can engage with us and support a cause that is not just wishes, but a cause that's near and dear to their heart in terms of supporting our nation's hero families.
What's the best way to find out how to get in on these events?
Our website, midatlantic.wish.org, and put up my email address. They can call me directly. We'd love to get them involved. Another really cool way is not just events, but it's really sponsoring a child. So companies and individuals can donate $15,000 and you get the opportunity to have some kind of experience with a child so you can directly see the impact that your generosity is having. We've got a new donor in She/He Auto Group. They have had at all of their different locations are hosting wish celebrations for children, either to tell them their wish is coming true or to welcome them back from their wish. They invite their customers, they invite their employees. It's a great, great, great way to really feel and understand how your donation and your charity and your philanthropy is changing lives.
Awesome. That's good because there's a lot of company owners out here listening.
Oh, good. We love that. And you're in the government contracting business. You support veterans and military causes.
Oh, 1,000%.
You are at your chili cook-off and everything. Are an example of a company that gives back.
That's a core value of ours. And we actually give all of our employees 8 hours a year to volunteer.
Fantastic.
To nudge it already and then to nudge it further. And even our part-time people get 4 hours a year for volunteering.
I hope you're very proud of that because that's fantastic.
I think it's really important to try to make the world better because you were there. You can't solve all the things, but you can do some things and you can really focus on making somebody else's life better.
That's right. $15,000 for some people is a huge lift. I'll tell you, even that $10 donation every month, instead of getting your Starbucks, having it come to Make-A-Wish, it all adds up and it all makes a difference in the life of a child.
Yeah, $120 across a year. It does add up for multiple people doing it.
Yes. It buys luggage for a family who's never traveled before. $120.
I feel like we might have hit this already, but what is one of the best things about your job?
It's the joy that I feel when I see a child smile and when a family, a parent thanks me because I've been in their shoes and I know, right? I've experienced it. So to be able to do that for somebody else when I walked in their shoes, I think that's what's, for me personally, the best return I could hope for.
It's like a combination of being a mom at Christmas morning, plus like helping somebody grow up.
Giving these children a childhood that they deserve, but that their childhood at the moment has been really taken away from them. I mean, you're a mom. Think about how much care and effort you put into finding the right Christmas present or birthday present.
I don't.
I don't believe that.
I do because my kids have so much and I give them so much throughout the year, or like we have experiences and then they have 4 aunts. They have 4 aunts and 2 sets of grandparents. That's a lot of presents. They can tell the aunts and the grandparents, and I'll focus on activities with them.
Yeah, but it's building memories. And it's finding what that experience is going to be that's going to give them that memory. That's what our team does every day.
We focus on making assorted cookies, Christmas cookies, which seems to be a lost thing and then putting them together in boxes, and we go around wearing elf hats and hand them out to the neighbors.
I love that. I am not a baker, so you have more patience than I do.
If you do it in little chunks, then it's a lot of effort to freeze it all well, and then you bring it out. But it is really joyous to give somebody something delicious and warm and unexpected and personal versus like, here's your gift card. Maybe they would like the gift card too, but they're getting some homemade cookies.
I think the homemade touch is much better than any gift card. That'll probably sit in a drawer and never be redeemed. You know, those cookies are getting eaten.
Now, you've spent your whole career in the nonprofit.
I have. I was a weird child who came out of college saying, I want to be a fundraiser. This was before there were fundraising schools and programs.
Really?
And profession. But I'd always volunteered in high school and college. And so I just kind of fell into it and have never looked back.
Wait, you triple majored, right?
I did, yeah.
What'd you major in?
I was a nerd. Economics, foreign affairs, political science. I had a minor in German, and I should have gotten a major in that, but I didn't know that I had to take a 200 level class, even though I had passed out of it. I got cheated out of that because I did all the 400 level classes, but yeah, it still burns me a little bit.
So what's your big ask for this year going into 2026?
My big ask for Make-A-Wish is there are so many good organizations out there doing great things. And the economy right now is kind of in the pits. I know there are a lot of people out there suffering and a lot of demands on people for their time, talent, and treasure. My big ask is that please think about Wish Kids. Even if you want to come into the office and write them a birthday card, all those little moments of joy that anybody can help create has an impact on our kids.
That's awesome. Now, I'm a big reader. Is there a book that you love that's made a big impact on you?
Oh boy. I wish you'd told me I was going to get asked that early.
Well, it's better because what comes to your mind?
I read so much that I don't even remember what I read. I read so much every night for at least a half an hour.
What are you reading now?
I am reading The Death of the Republic about President Garfield, and it is very interesting. It's fascinating. I
will pass on that.
Despite the title, it's actually about President Garfield, not about our current political system. But yes, Death of the Republic. Yeah, you should read it.
I'm reading Unreasonable Hospitality. It's a new book about 11 Madison Park. I think 11 Madison.
Oh, the restaurant?
Which was number one in the world. But one of the things that made it the best in the world was that they really focused on hospitality.
I love that. I just got back from a week in Disney where every 5 years we have our Make-A-Wish International Conference. So 700 staff and volunteers from all over the world because Make-A-Wish is in 40 countries as well as every inch of the United States. And man, the hospitality, I think Disney is one of the pioneers of the hospitality mentality.
Right. It's magic.
It is. You don't see any of it. It just happens.
Yeah. To feel cared for.
Yes.
So before we go, tell me something about yourself that might surprise us.
Surprise you. Well, I don't know. I'll tell you an interesting fact. And that is that I have 2 children and my husband, I adopted them both from Russia when they were just over a year old. And they are not biologically related, but they are only 12 days apart in age. So I basically have a boy and a girl twin. The ride of a life to go from being 38 and footloose and fancy free to having 2 Russian toddlers run through your house at the age of 38.
How old were they when you adopted them?
They were just over a year.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Still in diapers.
Yeah, on my toes.
That's awesome. So 2 21-year-olds.
Yeah. Yes. I'm sure one of them might make an appearance here at some point. Hopefully only one.
Well, thank you so much, Leslie. I'm looking forward to getting a big table at your ladies' luncheon.
Thank you.
A fabulous
Sheila Johnson is speaking.
Oh,
Sheila Johnson, the founder of BET and the Salamander Hotels and the Mystics basketball team. She is amazing. So it's going to be great.
That's really great. And one of my favorite parts was you had children who had received wishes, so alumni coming and speaking and telling about their stories.
I'll tell you, seeing these children post-wish 10, even 20, 30 years later The wish sticks with them. And any child who goes through a childhood illness is just wise beyond their years and has a great appreciation for what's important in life. And they're inspirational.
I think when you face mortality, when you're supposed to never even think about it, it changes your perspective.
Definitely.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking the time to have, and it's always good to see your face.
You too. Thanks for the opportunity.
Thanks so much for listening to today's podcast. If you enjoyed what you heard, please share it with friends and family. If you'd like to follow us on social media, you can find us on LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook under the Outspoken Podcast. Thanks again, and until next time.
I don't want to know what I look like because I always look so awkward on these things.
Back up a little so we can see the pin, though, too. There you go. All right. Now you look like a talking head. Great. Perfect.